"Sir, I feel something strange on my back," said the alien orphan girl to the human HFY captain. Ray stood near the wide glass wall of the refugee station and looked into space. The stars were quiet tonight. They always looked peaceful from a distance, even though Ray knew how cruel space could be. The station floated far from Earth, far from any major trade route. It was a place for the forgotten. Broken ships came here. Lost people came here. Orphans came here too. Ray had worked here for 6 years. He was not a hero. He was not famous. He was just a human officer who stayed when others left. He believed someone had to care. The station was old but clean. Metal halls echoed with soft footsteps. Lights hummed gently. The air smelled of recycled oxygen and warm plastic. Ray liked the quiet. It helped him think. A soft beep came from his wrist screen. New arrival detected. Ray sighed and turned away from the window. Another ship, probably damaged. He walked toward the intake bay, his boots tapping against the floor. 2 guards followed him, calm but alert. The ship that arrived was small and badly burned. Its surface was blackened, and one engine looked half melted. Emergency lights blinked weakly. The docking clamps locked into place with a heavy sound. The door opened slowly. First came smoke, then silence. A medical team rushed forward. Ray raised his hand, signaling caution. Then he saw her. A small figure stepped out, holding a thin blanket around her shoulders. She was short, even for a child. Her skin was pale blue, almost gray, and her eyes were large and dark. She looked around like a frightened animal, an alien child. Ray knelt down slowly, keeping his voice gentle. "It is okay," he said. "You are safe now." The girl stared at him. She did not answer. A medic scanned her with a handheld device. The screen flickered, then froze. "That's strange," the medic said quietly. Ray noticed dark lines on the girl's back, visible through the torn cloth. They looked like old scars, long and uneven. Some were thin, some were thick. None of them looked fresh. "Where did she come from?" Ray asked.
"No crew alive," a guard replied. "No records either."
"The ship registry is wiped." The girl clutched the blanket tighter. Ray slowly stood and nodded. "Take her to the medical wing." Gently, she flinched when the medic stepped closer. Ray held up his hand again. "I'll walk with her." The medical wing was quiet. Soft white lights lined the ceiling. The girl walked beside Ray, her steps slow and unsure. She did not speak, but her eyes followed everything. Inside a private room, the medics tried to scan her again. The device buzzed and shut down. "That should not happen," the medic said. Ray frowned. "What about manual tests? We can try, but her biology does not match any known pattern." Ray looked at the girl. She sat on the bed, swinging her feet slightly. She looked small and tired. "What is your name?" Ray asked. She hesitated. Then, in a soft voice, she said, "Luma." Ray smiled a little. "That is a nice name. My name is Ray." Luma nodded once. The medics tried again. Blood tests failed. Skin readings failed. Even basic temperature checks gave strange results. "She is stable," the lead medic finally said. "But those marks on her back worry me. They are not injuries. They look grown." Ray did not like the sound of that.
"Give her food and rest," he said. "No experiments."
"She is a child." The medic nodded, though he looked uncertain. Later, Ray returned alone. Luma was sitting on the bed, holding a cup of warm soup. She drank slowly. "Is it good?" Ray asked. She nodded again. "Warm." Ray sat on a chair near her. "You can stay here as long as you want. No one will hurt you." Luma looked at him closely, as if trying to see something deeper. "Why?" she asked. Ray blinked. "Why what? Why help me?" Ray thought for a moment. "Because someone helped me once." Luma looked down. Time passed. The station returned to its normal rhythm. Ships came and went. People argued, laughed, cried, clad. Ooh. Luma stayed quiet. She followed Ray sometimes, always a step behind. She trusted him, though she did not know why. At night, Ray watched security feeds from his office. He noticed something strange. Sensors near Luma's room flickered often. Power usage spiked for a second, then returned to normal. He checked logs. No errors reported. One night, Ray heard a knock. "Come in," he said. Luma stepped inside, holding her blanket. "Sir," she said softly. Ray stood up. "What is it?" She hesitated. Her hands shook a little. "I feel something strange on my back." Ray's chest tightened. "What kind of strange?" She turned slowly. It feels warm and heavy, and sometimes it moves." Ray reached out but stopped himself. "Does it hurt?" She shook her head. "No, but I am scared." At that moment the lights flickered. An alarm chirped once, then went silent. Ray's screen lit up with warning messages, then cleared.
What was that?
Luma asked. Ray forced a calm smile. Probably old wiring, but his heart beat faster. He walked her back to her room and asked her to rest. She lay down, eyes open. "Stay?" she asked. Ray nodded and sat beside the bed. Minutes passed. Then Ray felt it too, a low vibration under his feet. The air felt thick, like before a storm. All systems normal. Suddenly, Luma gasped. "It is waking," she whispered. Ray stood. "What is waking?" Before she could answer, every screen in the room flashed white. Across the station, doors sealed for half a second, then reopened. Defensive systems powered on without command. Engineers shouted over comms. "What triggered that?" someone yelled. Ray stared at Luma. She was glowing, not bright, but softly, like moonlight under skin. The marks on her back were clearer now. They were not scars. They were shapes, lines forming patterns. Ray stepped closer, fear and wonder mixing in his chest. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe." The glow faded. The station returned to normal. Silence. Ray exhaled slowly. Elsewhere, far beyond the station, a deep space sensor picked up a signal. Old, rare, alive, and it pointed directly at the refugee station. Back in the quiet room, Luma looked up at Ray with wide eyes.
"They know," she said. Ray swallowed.
Who knows? She hugged the blanket tightly. The ones who burned the sky.
Ray did not sleep that night. Captain Ray could not sleep. The station was quiet, but his mind was full of questions. Luma's glow, the strange marks, the signal detected far away. It all made no sense. He walked to the observation deck, looking at the stars. Each one seemed cold, distant, but something out there was watching them. The next morning, the medics returned to check Luma. She was calm now, eating slowly. Ray stayed near the door. The head scientist, Dr. Hale, arrived. He was a tall man with sharp eyes and a thin face. He looked at Luma and then at Ray. This child, Dr. Hale said quietly, is biologically impossible. The scans, they keep failing. It is as if her body refuses to be measured.
Ray frowned. She is a child, not an experiment. Keep it simple.
Just make sure she is safe and healthy. Doctor. Hale shook his head. Safety may not be enough. Those marks on her back, they are moving, not injuries. Something grows beneath the skin. I cannot explain it.
Ray's stomach tightened.
What do you mean? Look, Dr. Hale said, turning a handheld scanner toward Luma. The lines on her back shifted under the device's light. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the patterns formed strange symbols. Luma watched quietly, expression calm, but her hands gripped the blanket tightly. Ray stepped closer. Child, what is this? Can you feel it? Luma nodded slightly. Sometimes at night, or when I am scared. It feels warm and heavy, like it wants something. Dr. Hale gasped. Wants something? That is biologically impossible. No being can have this intention. Ray ignored him. Luma, can you show me? She hesitated, then slowly lifted her shirt, just enough to reveal the patterns. They were faint, glowing, slightly. The symbols seemed alive, shifting slowly, almost like liquid light. Ray felt a cold shiver. Do they hurt? She shook her head. No, but I hear voices in dreams. They tell me to wake. They tell me to go home. I do not know where that is. Ray put a hand on her shoulder. You are home here. For now. Dr. Hale stepped back. Captain, this is not just strange. It is dangerous. If anyone sees this, if the Outer Council sees this, they will come. Ray turned sharply. Outer Council? Dr. Hale nodded gravely. They monitor the galaxy for anything unusual. They destroyed her people. Any child like her is a target. Ray's jaw tightened. Then we hide her. Dr. Hale shook his head. Hiding may not work. The marks are broadcasting. I detected a signal last night. Weak, but real. It is sending information somewhere. Ray felt a heavy weight in his chest. No. To where? Dr. Hale did not answer. He did not need to. Ray understood. Somewhere far away, powerful watchers were aware of Luma. They were coming. Luma sat quietly on the bed, listening. I remember, she whispered. Flames, metal, screaming voices. I ran. They burned the sky. Ray knelt beside her. Do you want to tell me more? She hesitated, then nodded. I do not know if I can. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I do not, but I feel it in my back. It tells me things I cannot understand. It says, protect me, or I will not survive. Ray swallowed. You will survive, I will make sure of it. That day he began extra patrols around the station. He checked sensors, security logs, anything unusual. Engineers and guards noticed, but he did not explain. He could not. No one could understand Luma, not yet. At night, Luma started having dreams. She murmured in her sleep, calling names Ray had never heard. She drew symbols in the medical room, copying shapes she could not possibly know. Dr. Hale studied them and paled. "These are ancient warnings," he whispered. "Forbidden symbols from old records. How does she know them?" Ray watched silently as, "Does it matter? We protect her, no matter what." Days passed and the signal grew stronger. Dr. Hale confirmed it. It was not just a faint broadcast. Something was responding, something far away. He could not say what. Ray did not ask. He did not want the answer. One evening, alarms suddenly rang in the station. The lights flickered. Guards rushed to stations. Ray ran to Luma's room. She sat on the bed, eyes wide, staring at her back. "They are here," she said softly. Her voice trembled. Ray knelt beside her. "Who?" "Not yet," she whispered. "But they watch. They always watch." The station's main screen lit up. A ship appeared in the distance. Huge, dark, moving without warning. It was not friendly. Its hull shimmered impossible shapes across the surface. The name was not in any registry Ray knew. The ship was powerful, almost alive. Ray felt a cold rage. "Outer Council," he muttered. "It has to be." Luma clutched the blanket. "They burned my world. I do not want to see it again." Ray placed his hand gently on hers.
You won't.
"I promise." The crew of the station gathered. Fear and uncertainty hung in the air. The ship in the distance made no move, but sensors indicated it was scanning, learning, searching. It was hunting. "Doctor," Hale whispered to Ray, "they know she is here. They will demand her.
Ray straightened.
They will not get her, not while I am here." Luma looked at him, eyes wide. "I feel it in my back. Something wants to wake."
Ray felt a chill. We will figure it out. Together.
As night fell, the station's lights dimmed. The dark ship hovered outside, silent and menacing. Luma's back glowed faintly again, the lines moving slowly. She sat quietly, clutching her blanket. Ray did not sleep that night either. He knew the Outer Council would not wait. They would come for the child. But he also knew that Luma was not just a child. She was something more, something alive, something dangerous to those who wanted to harm her, and Ray would stand between her and the hunters. No matter what. The station was tense. Captain Ray walked the corridors, boots echoing against the metal floor. Every guard, every engineer, every medic was alert. The distant ship hovered outside like a shadow that refused to leave. It was large, dark, and moved silently.
No communication. No warning.
Just watching. Ray went to Luma's room. She sat on the bed, knees drawn to her chest, eyes wide and dark. The soft glow of her back was faint but constant. She had been quiet all morning, listening to something no one could hear. "Do you remember?" Ray asked gently. "About your world?" She nodded slowly, her small hands clenching the blanket. "Yes, I remember everything now." Her voice trembled.
They came in fire, metal wings.
"They took everything. I ran, but they followed. I do not know why I survived." Ray crouched beside her. "You survived for a reason. You are here now. You are safe." She shook her head. "I am not safe. They will come. And when they do, they will not stop." Ray swallowed. "Then we prepare." Dr. Hale arrived with urgency written across his face. "Captain, I've confirmed something disturbing. The energy from her back, it's not dormant. It is alive. her biology. It is not just unique. It is weaponized. Your child? She has something that was hunted because it could destroy entire fleets. And she has no control over it yet. Ray's fists clenched. Then we protect her until she can. Dr. Hale nodded. We may not have long. I detected another signal coming from her. It is stronger now. Something far away is responding. Ray's heart tightened. The Outer Council. They will arrive soon, Dr. Hale said quietly. You need to be ready. That night, Luma could not sleep. She trembled in her small bed, blanket tight around her. Ray stayed near the door, watching. The faint lines on her back began to move again, shifting slowly like living ribbons of light. I hear them, she whispered. Voices.
Calling me, they say.
Wake up. Be ready. Ray knelt beside her. You do not have to be ready alone. I am here. We are all here. She looked at him with wide, fearful eyes. I do not know if I can control it. Last time it reacted. I do not want to hurt anyone. You will not, Ray said firmly. I will protect you. No one will be hurt. Suddenly the station shuddered. A soft hum filled the halls. Lights flickered, then stabilized. Sensors picked up movement outside. The Outer Council ship had not moved closer, but its presence pressed against the station as if trying to pierce its walls. Ray ran to the observation deck. The massive ship was still there, almost silent. Then he noticed smaller shapes moving around it. Drones, scouting, scanning. They were not human, not like any known species. They moved like predators, silent and precise. Back in her room, Luma stiffened. Her small body glowed faintly. The lines on her back pulsed slowly, in rhythm with the hum of the station. They are close, she whispered. I can feel them. They smell fear. Ray's jaw tightened. We will not show fear. Everyone on this station. Stay calm. Stay quiet. No one acts alone. Dr. Hale arrived, pointing to a monitor. The signals she emits, they are not just energy. They are messages.
They are warnings. I do not know if anyone else can read them, but something out there can.
Ray stared at Luma. What are you trying to say, child? She hugged her knees. I do not know. Something in my back. It remembers. It tells me about them, about what they want. I cannot stop it. Ray placed a hand on her small shoulder. Then we will face it together, no matter what comes. Hours passed. The hum continued. The ship outside remained silent, dark, and threatening. Every creak of the station sounded louder. Every flicker of light felt like a warning. Luma's back glowed brighter. The symbols moved faster, shifting and pulsing. It was as if she was no longer a child, but a living beacon, responding to something deep in space. Dr. Hale looked at the readings and paled. Captain, it's activating. I cannot stop it. It is not responding to us. It is reacting to her memories, her fear, her will. If it fully wakes, it will be unstoppable. Ray felt a heavy weight settle on his chest. Then we make sure she does not wake fully, not until she is ready. Suddenly, Luma gasped and clutched the blanket. Her eyes were wide, glowing faintly. They are here, she whispered. They came through the void. I can see them. Ray grabbed a communicator. All stations alert. Unknown fleet approaching. Stand by for boarding protocol. The crew scrambled. Guards armed themselves. Engineers prepared shields. Everyone knew this was not a drill. Outside, the void shimmered. Small ships, fast and deadly, appeared around the massive dark ship. They moved like shadows hunting prey. The Outer Council had arrived, and they were not here to negotiate. Ray ran back to Luma. She trembled, eyes fixed on the patterns on her back. They moved faster now, glowing brighter. "You are safe," he said. "I will not let them hurt you." She looked up at him. "I cannot control it. I do not want to hurt anyone." "You will not," Ray repeated firmly. "I will stand with you." The first alarm rang through the station. Boarding pods were approaching. The Outer Council's forces were preparing to strike. Luma's back glowed stronger. Symbols shifted violently, like something trying to break free. Ray could feel the energy from the other side of the room, small but overwhelming. Dr. Hale shouted over the comms, "Captain!"
Shields are responding. Luma's energy is interacting with the station defenses.
"It is defensive. It wants to protect her." Ray took a deep breath. "Then we use it? We will hold them off. Keep her calm. Everyone, stay with her. Do not panic." Luma's hand shook as she held her blanket. "I do not know if I can." Ray kneeled beside her. "Then I will do it with you, step by step. One moment at a time." The first boarding pods hit the outer doors. Shields flared. Energy rippled across the station, pushing back against the invaders. Sparks flew. Metal bent. The Outer Council forces hesitated, surprised by the station's sudden defensive response. Luma gasped. Her back pulsed brighter, energy spilling across her shoulders in waves. The lines formed shapes, wings or armor, impossible to describe. Ray realized she was not just a child. She was a living weapon, but she did not want to be one. She was scared, and that fear made her power wild.
Ray grabbed her hands.
"Focus on me. Focus on safety, not fear. You control it."
You are not them. You are not what they want you to be.
Slowly, the glow softened. The energy remained, but no longer violent. It formed a shield around Luma and Ray, protecting the room. Outside, the first invaders were pushed back by the energy's force.
Ray looked at her. "See? You can control it. You are safe here."
"We are together," she nodded, trembling.
I think so. But as the night stretched on, Ray knew this was only the beginning.
The Outer Council had arrived, and they would not leave empty-handed. Somewhere far in the void, more watchers were responding to Luma's awakening. The child was powerful beyond imagination, and the galaxy had taken notice. Ray stood by her side, knowing that protecting her meant facing the impossible. But he also knew something else. Luma was not just a child to be protected. She was a force that could change everything. And for the first time in his life, he felt hope rise with fear. And in the quiet of the station, Luma whispered again, eyes fixed on her glowing back, "I remember everything now." Outside, in the darkness of space, the massive dark ship pulsed with awareness. The hunt had begun. The station shook again, harder this time. Metal groaned like something alive and hurting. Captain Ray held his balance as warning lights flashed red across the corridor. The Outer Council forces were no longer testing. They were attacking. Guards shouted over comms. Engineers yelled about failing systems. Somewhere deep in the station, something exploded with a dull boom. Ray ran back to Luma's room. She was on her knees on the floor, hands pressed against her back, breathing fast. The glow was brighter now, spilling through the torn cloth like soft fire. The symbols no longer moved slowly. They flowed, forming shapes that hurt the eyes if stared at too long. "I cannot stop it," Luma cried. "They are too close. It thinks we are in danger." Ray knelt beside her without thinking. The air around her felt warm, like standing near a shield generator. "Listen to me," he said firmly.
You are not alone. Look at me.
She looked up, tears in her eyes. "They are inside," she whispered.
"I feel them." As if answering her words, the station rocked again. The sound of metal tearing echoed through the halls. Boarding parties had breached the outer sections. Dr. Beacon Y. Hale's voice came over the comm. "Captain, multiple hull breaches on decks 5 and 6. Council units are advancing. They are heavily armed." Ray closed his eyes for a moment. Then he made a choice. "All units fall back," he said into the comm. "Protect civilians. Do not engage unless forced." Dr. Hale hesitated. "Captain, they will reach her." "I know," Ray replied. "That is why I am staying." The connection cut. Ray turned back to Luma. The glow around her spread outward, touching the walls, the floor, the ceiling. The metal hummed under the energy. "They want me," she said. "They always did. That is why they burned my world."
They were afraid of what we could become. Ray's voice was calm, but his heart was pounding. Then they are wrong to be afraid of you.
"You are not a monster." Luma shook her head. "You do not understand. When it wakes fully, it does not feel like me anymore." Before Ray could answer, the door to the room melted. Not exploded, not broken. It softened and flowed away like liquid metal. 3 figures stepped through the opening. They were tall and thin, wrapped in dark armor that seemed to drink in the light. Their faces were hidden behind smooth masks with no eyes, no mouth, no emotion. Outer Council enforcers. The air grew cold. One of them raised a device that hummed with power. "The asset has been located," a flat voice said. "Stand aside, human." Ray stood up and stepped in front of Luma. "No," he said simply. The enforcer tilted its head. "You do not understand. This entity is a threat to galactic stability." "She is a child," Ray replied, "and she is under my protection?" The enforcer raised the device higher. "Step aside." Behind Ray, Luma screamed. The glow exploded outward. A wave of force slammed into the enforcers, throwing them back down the corridor. Their armor sparked as they hit the walls. One did not move. The station shook violently. Lights burst. Panels tore free. Ray was thrown against the wall, his vision flashing white. When he opened his eyes, he saw something he would never forget. Luma was floating. Not high, just a little above the floor. The energy from her back had formed a wide, curved shape behind her, like wings made of light and shadow. The symbols burned bright, alive, moving with purpose. Her eyes glowed softly. She looked terrified. "I did not want this," she cried. "Make it stop." Ray forced himself to stand. His body hurt, but he moved anyway. "Luma," he said loudly. "Listen to me. Look at me." The remaining enforcers struggled to rise, weapons powered up again. Ray stepped forward, placing himself between them and the child. "Do not fire," he shouted. "You will only make it worse." One enforcer spoke again.
"Move. The asset must be contained or destroyed."
Destroyed. The word hit Ray harder than any weapon. He did not move. The enforcers fired. Energy bolts screamed through the air. Before they could hit, the wings behind Luma spread wider. A shield formed instantly, bending space itself. The bolts struck it and vanished, as if swallowed. The station screamed as systems overloaded. The defensive grid reacted without commands, feeding power into the shield around Luma. Dr. Hale's voice came through, panicked. "Captain, the station cannot handle this level of energy. Structural failure is imminent." Ray did not respond. His eyes were locked on Luma. She was shaking now, the power around her unstable. The wings flickered, growing larger, heavier. The floor beneath her cracked. "I cannot control it," she sobbed. "It is angry. It remembers them hurting us." Ray walked closer, ignoring the heat, the pressure, the pain. "Then let it remember something else," he said. "Remember this. You are not alone. You are not hunted. You are protected." He reached out. The shield resisted him at first, pushing back. His arm felt like it was on fire, but he kept going. Finally, his hand touched her shoulder. The energy stuttered. Luma gasped. Her eyes focused on him. "You are hurt," she said. Ray smiled weakly. "I have been hurt before." "This is nothing." Slowly, the wings behind her shifted. The sharp edges softened. The glow dimmed just a little. The enforcers hesitated. For the first time, they seemed unsure. Ray turned his head slightly. "Leave," he said. "Now," one enforcer spoke. "We cannot." "Then you will be removed," Ray replied. The energy surged again, but this time it was different. Controlled, directed. A pulse swept through the corridor. Not violent, but absolute. The enforcers were lifted off their feet and slammed back through the melted doorway, carried by a force they could not resist. The corridor beyond twisted and bent, sealing itself shut behind them. Silence fell. The station stopped shaking. Slowly, painfully, systems came back online. Luma collapsed into Ray's arms. He caught her, lowering them both to the floor. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I almost broke everything." Ray held her carefully. "You saved us." She shook her head. "They will come back. With more ships, more weapons." Ray looked up at the ceiling, then at the flickering lights. "I know," he said quietly, "but so will we." Dr. Hale rushed into the room with several medics and guards. They froze when they saw the damage, the melted walls, the cracked floor, the child in Ray's arms. What was that?" one guard whispered.
Ray looked at them. "That was fear," he said.
"And what happens when you push it too far?" Luma stirred. The glow on her back faded, the symbols settling into quiet lines once more. She looked exhausted. Dr. Hale approached slowly. "Captain." "The council ship is pulling back." Ray looked at him sharply. "Retreating?" "Yes," Dr. Hale said. "But not fleeing. They are waiting." Ray nodded. "They always do." He looked down at Luma. She was awake, watching him. "They will not stop," she said.
"No," Ray agreed.
"But neither will we." Outside the station, the dark ship drifted farther away, silent and patient, and far beyond it, deeper in space, other eyes opened. Something ancient had felt the power awaken, something older than the council. something that remembered what Luma's people once were. The galaxy had changed, and it would never be quiet again. The station was quiet again, but it was not peace. It was the silence that comes before something breaks. Captain Ray stood in the command center, staring at the main screen. The outer council ship floated far away now, just a dark shape against the stars. It was not attacking. It was waiting. That was worse. Behind him, engineers worked without rest. Damaged walls were sealed. Power systems were patched together. Medics moved through halls, helping the injured, where everyone spoke in low voices, as if afraid the station itself might hear them. Ray felt tired down to his bones, but he could not stop. Luma was moved to a reinforced medical room near the center of the station. Not a cell. Ray made sure of that. The door stayed open. Guards stayed outside, not inside. She lay on the bed, small and pale, her breathing slow. The glow on her back was gone, but the marks remained. Quiet. Watching. Dr. Hale stood beside Ray, studying readings on a floating screen. "She is stable," he said. "But what we saw earlier, that was not a reflex. That was a choice." She shaped the energy, directed it. Ray nodded.
"She protected us." "Yes, Doctor."
Hale replied. "But the energy level she reached, Captain, the station barely survived. If she loses control again..." "She won't," Ray said firmly. Hale looked at him. "You trust her that much?" Ray did not answer right away. He looked through the glass at the sleeping child. "I trust who she wants to be," he said finally. "And I trust what humans do when someone needs help." Dr. Hale sighed. "The Outer Council will not accept that. They see only risk. They will return with force." As if summoned by his words, alarms sounded softly. Not a full alert, a warning, an incoming transmission. Ray straightened, put it through. The screen shifted. A shape appeared, tall and distorted, made of shifting light and shadow. No face, no eyes. "The Outer Council speaker. Human station," the voice said, cold and calm. "You are in violation of galactic security law. You harbor a living weapon."
Ray stepped forward. "We harbor a child." "There is no difference," the voice replied.
"That entity has already demonstrated destructive capability."
She defended herself, Ray said.
"From you?"
A pause.
Then the voice spoke again. "You will surrender the asset, or your station will be erased." Around Ray, crew members stiffened. Fear spread like cold air. Ray felt it too. But he did not step back. "No," he said. Another pause. "You choose extinction," the voice said. The screen went dark. The alarms stopped. Ray exhaled slowly. "They're bringing a fleet," Dr. Hale whispered.
"I can feel it," Ray nodded. "So can I. Hours passed."
The stars outside shifted as space warped. One by one, ships appeared. Not one, not 10, hundreds. The Outer Council fleet surrounded the station, dark and massive. Each ship carried weapons that could tear planets apart. The station crew stared in silence. Someone whispered, "We're dead." Ray turned around. "No," he said. "Not yet." He walked quickly to Luma's room. She was awake. She sat up as he entered, her eyes already glowing faintly. "They are here," she said quietly. "All of them." Ray sat beside her. "I know." Her hands trembled. I do not want to hurt anyone. Ray looked at her carefully. Listen to me. You are not responsible for their choices, only for yours. She looked down. If I do nothing, they will kill everyone here. Ray nodded. Yes, if I fight, she whispered, I might kill them. Ray was silent for a moment. Then he said, there is a third choice. She looked up. What? You protect, Ray said. Not destroy. Not surrender. Protect. Her brow furrowed. I do not know how. Ray placed his hand gently over hers. Then we learn. Together. Outside, the fleet moved closer. Energy readings spiked. Weapons powered up. The station shields flared to life, thin and weak compared to what was coming. Dr. Hale's voice came over the comm. Captain, they are charging main weapons. We have minutes. Ray pressed the communicator. All crew, listen carefully. We are not attacking. We are not surrendering. Stay calm. Follow orders. Trust each other. He turned back to Luma. Can you feel the power? He asked. She nodded. It is there. Quiet now. Waiting.
Do not let it decide for you, Ray said. You decide. She closed her eyes.
The marks on her back began to glow again. Slow and steady. Not wild. Not angry. Focused. The energy spread, but gently this time, like water flowing into empty space. The station lights dimmed as power drained away, feeding into something else. Dr. Hale gasped over the comm. Dot, 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 dot. Captain, the station grid is changing. It's linking to her. Ah, Ray smiled slightly. Good. Outside, the outer council fired. Beams of white-hot energy crossed the void. They struck the station and stopped. A massive field formed around the station, wide and smooth, bending the beams away. The attack slid along its surface. Harmless, the fleet paused. Confusion rippled through their formation. Luma opened her eyes. Her back was no longer forming wings. It formed a shell, a shield so vast it wrapped the entire station, glowing softly against the darkness. Ray felt tears sting his eyes. You did it, he whispered. I did not attack, Luma said softly. I only said no. The outer council ships fired again. Harder, the shield held. Energy built up, but it did not explode outward. It pressed inward, steady and calm. Dr. Hale shouted, amazed. Captain, the energy is recycling. They are feeding her power, and she is using it to strengthen the shield. The outer council speaker appeared again, its image shaking. Cease this immediately, it demanded. You cannot sustain this. Luma stood up, her small body glowing like a star behind Ray.
Yes, she said quietly. I can.
Her voice echoed, not loud, but
everywhere.
The fleet weapons powered down one by one. Silence returned to space. The council ships began to pull back, not fleeing, retreating. Ray stared at the screen in disbelief. Dr. Hale laughed softly, almost hysterical. They're backing off. They can't break through without destroying themselves. Luma swayed. Ray caught her as she collapsed into his arms. The shield faded slowly, gently, leaving the station intact. The fleet withdrew to a safe distance, forming a wide ring. They will return, Dr. Hale said quietly, with more allies, with new plans. I know, He looked down at Luma. She was awake, weak, but smiling faintly.
I did not hurt them, she whispered. No, Ray said.
You showed them something new. What? She asked. Ray looked out at the stars, at the retreating fleet. That humans protect, he said, and so do you. Far away, beyond the outer council ships, something ancient shifted, something that had been sleeping for a very long time. It had felt the shield, not as a weapon, but as a promise. And it was listening. The station was quiet now, but the quiet was not empty. It was heavy with the memory of what had happened. Captain Ray walked through the halls, checking on every crew member, every system, every corner. Nothing could be left unchecked, not after what Luma had done, not after what the Outer Council had tried to do. Luma sat in her reinforced medical room, the soft glow on her back gone. The marks were still there, quiet, watching. She was drawing on a small tablet, simple shapes, symbols she barely understood herself. Her face was calm, but her eyes held a depth that no human child could carry. Ray knelt beside her, watching over her like a guardian. You are quiet today, he said softly. I am thinking, she replied, about what happened, about them, about me.
Ray nodded. And?
She looked at him, hesitant. I do not know yet. I only know that I do not want to hurt anyone. And that, I like being here. With you. Ray smiled faintly. We will keep it that way, together. Outside, the stars moved as ships passed by the station. The Outer Council had not returned, at least not yet. The fleet lingered far away, silent and watching, but the immediate threat had passed. For now. Dr. Hale entered the room. Captain, I have run more tests on her. The energy in her body, it is stable now. She can control it if she wants. And she does not have to fight unless she chooses. That is remarkable.
Ray nodded. She is a child first.
That is all that matters.
Hale sighed. Still, we need to prepare. Others will come. There are other watchers out there. Older ones, stronger ones. They will be drawn to her power. Ray looked down at Luma. Then we teach her control. And we teach her trust. Over the next weeks, Luma trained quietly. She practiced moving energy from her back into shields, shaping it, feeling it. Ray stayed with her, patient and calm. Medics monitored her health. Engineers studied how her energy interacted with the station. Everyone learned to move around her carefully, with respect, not fear. Luma's eyes brightened each day. She laughed sometimes. She ran through the corridors, her small steps echoing. She watched the stars and asked questions about planets, about people, about humans. Ray answered as best as he could. You have done well, he said one afternoon as she created a small shield around a chair. You are strong. I only protect, she replied. I do not attack, Ray smiled. That is the right choice. Outside the station, messages from Earth had arrived. Humanity had taken notice of what had happened. High officials discussed protection for children like Luma. The word spread quietly, carefully, that humans would stand between the weak and the powerful, that humans would protect life, even against the strongest fleets. Luma watched one of the videos of Earth with wide eyes. People...
They would fight for me? Ray nodded.
Yes, humans do that.
She smiled faintly. Then I will fight too. Not to destroy, but to protect. Days passed, and life in the station returned to a new normal. The walls bore scars, the floors creaked where they had bent, but the people were alive. The fear was still there, quiet, like a shadow, but it no longer ruled them. Ray often went to the observation deck to watch Luma. She liked to come with him sometimes. They would stand together looking at the stars, talking quietly. "You saved us," Ray said one night. "Not just me, everyone. I only—" said no, Luma replied. Her small hands brushed the rail.
They listened. Ray smiled softly. Yes.
They did, and that is why you are special. The fleet of the Outer Council still hovered far in space, silent and patient. They had not attacked again. Not yet. They were watching, but the galaxy had changed. They had seen what humans were willing to protect. They had seen what a child could do when she was defended by others. Far beyond the fleet, in deep space, something older than the Outer Council stirred. Ancient eyes opened. They had felt Luma's power, her choice, her courage, and they remembered. Ray did not know what would come next. He did not know how many would come, or how strong they would be. But he knew one thing clearly: Luma was not alone. And while humans chose to protect life, no power, no fleet, no ancient force could stand against that completely. He looked down at the child beside him, small but fierce in her own quiet way. "You are ready," he said softly. "I am," Luma whispered. She reached out her hand, and the faint glow returned on her back, gentle and warm, not threatening, protective, calm. Ray took her hand in his. "Then we face whatever comes next, together." The stars outside shone, silently, watching. And far away, something stirred. Something ancient. Something waiting. But for now, the station was safe. Humans were watching, and Luma had a home. The galaxy had changed, quietly, subtly. And hope, fragile but real, had returned. Even in the darkest corners of space, life could protect life, and humans would always stand between the weak and the strong. And in the quiet of the observation deck, Ray watched Luma play, her small hands tracing the glowing lines on her back, the distant stars burning bright. Somewhere far away, the ancient watchers opened their eyes. The galaxy had learned a lesson, and it had only just begun.